Next morning, Johanna and Harry were up early. They were impatient for Mr. Phigg to arrive, and their dad seemed to take forever, grumping over his coffee and cornflakes before heading off to the station. Almost as soon as they had the kitchen to themselves, Mr. Phigg was there. "Don't say anything," he said. "It's not as bad as it looks. It's just sprained." His left arm was in a sling, and he had a black eye that was so swollen you could hardly see any eye. "But I did tell you it was dangerous, didn't I? I got you two home just in time." He handed over a carrier bag. "The rug got a bit grubby, I'm afraid." "Did a nightmare get you?" Harry asked. "Not directly. Let's go up to the Slumber Downs, and I'll tell you the story there." They all went through the door and crossed the field to bed quarters. "Ah," said Simon as they went in, "the conquering hero comes." "All right," said Mr. Phigg, scowling. "I got us some decent pictures, though, didn't I?" "You did," Simon agreed. "Now, let's bring our ingenious young friends up to speed." He flicked at the computer keyboard for a moment, and the monitors came to life. "Here's the flock, at the point you left them." The camera panned slowly along a long row of sheep, waiting patiently, walking on the spot. Snow-white fleeces, coal-black faces, occasionally nuzzling against each other or cropping a blade of grass to pass the time. "Look," Harry pointed to a latecomer joining the back of the line. "There's Bartram, and there—" "Yes, indeed," said Mr. Phigg, "and blending in pretty well, if I may say so." The figure next to Bartram looked reasonably sheep-like at first glance, so long as you didn't look too closely at its legs. "We'll move over to your camera now, Phigg," said Simon, and the picture changed to a sheep's eye view of the flock and the hedgerows as they made their way down the lane. Simon moved the film on, and they were in more open country. Then Bartram's face filled the screen, saying, "Over there, behind us." The camera swung round to show an empty moonlit field with a wood at the far end. Something moved just in front of the trees before seeming to merge back into them. Then, about 10 yards further on, another shadow seemed briefly to appear in front of the trees. Then another. Then all was still for about half a minute. "Here they come," said Mr. Phigg. Suddenly the shadows were out of the woods together and took shape as 3 huge dark horses galloping at full tilt across the field towards the camera, their long, tightly muscled legs in beautiful, effortless motion. At the last minute they swerved and began to run along the edge of the flock, circling it closely. The children could sense the fear in the sheep, jostling ever closer together as the circle tightened. As if on a command, the 3 horses stopped and reared up together on their hind legs, whinnying loudly as they did so. The encircled sheep became more frantic in their movements, and suddenly there was a sharp cry and a jolt, and the camera swung around wildly before turning up to the sky. I tripped over. Then I came a cropper. Arthur's hindquarters are surprisingly solid, you know. He must have particularly dense bones. But watch this. They heard hoofbeats getting louder, and suddenly the screen was completely filled with the face of a nightmare, panting hard through foam-flecked lips. It pulled back slightly, opened its mouth wide to show a set of enormous white teeth, then sank them in as if for the kill, just below the level of the camera. The children's squeals as they watched merged with a higher-pitched scream from Mr. Phigg on the film's soundtrack. Then the camera jerked again, and the horse's head reappeared with something dangling from its mouth, before rapidly disappearing again with a clatter of hooves. "Bit clean through my carrot bandolier," said Mr. Phigg, patting his chest. "Made off with the lot." "That's about it," said Simon, turning off the monitor. "Well done, Phigg. Good work." "Do you think so?" asked Mr. Phigg. "I did make a bit of a fool of myself." "We've learnt a lot." They're hunting in packs now. They're deliberately targeting the shadow flock. The threat level is increasing. We know that their pheromones are very effective, and they do like carrots. No one's got pictures so close before. It was definitely worth doing. Good, said Mr. Phigg, though I don't know where it leaves us. What do we do next? I'm not sure about you, said Johanna, but we'd better get back for school. Then we've got the march this evening to the town hall. It won't help with the nightmares, but we might be able to do something from our end to stop the factory farm. You're right, said Mr. Phigg. The nightmares aren't our only problem.